everyone. Welcome to the Untold Stories podcast. Today, I'm sitting down with Pat Sheldon, the Flying Fisherman, to hear some of his stories about his journey and what he's done in the world of marketing, advertising, and one of the largest sunglass brands on the market today. Pat, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me. It's a real treat.
So, Pat, I think it was 1985. I'm working for Hal Chittim at his new retail store downtown Alamorada.
Used to be Lindsay Lumber, right?
No, it was Scotty's Lumber.
Scotty's Lumber, right?
Yeah, it was a lumber yard.
He turned into a beautiful store, man.
And I'll never forget him coming to me and go, you know, I got some guys that want to put a bunch of money up and build a retail store. And we're going to do this and we're going to do that. We're going to have all this stuff in the store. And we got 5,000 square feet to put things. And I want you to come do it with me and work for me and build rods. We'll have your own place upstairs and the whole bit. So, you know, of course, I'm building fishing rods. I'm guiding. I'm doing all this stuff. Why not? It was, you know, an opportunity.
Natural.
And I believe that's where we first met, is when Hal put your glasses in his store and you were looking at the fishing rods and you were commenting on them. And I got to talk to you a little bit and get to know who you were. And then I think the next thing, we actually did that TV show, The Snook Project, together with Hal Chittim.
It was PBS, and I was talking to Hal about, would you like to do it? And he goes, absolutely. Can we talk about Florida Bay and a few other things? I said, absolutely, we can. So that's how we hooked up. You were the camera boat, I think.
Yeah.
And I was on the boat with Hal.
Yep.
That's when he went off the platform.
I was just going to say, I think there's a piece in there where you pushed him off the platform.
I did not push him off the platform.
All I can say is he fell in the water somehow.
Well, he was on the platform and the boat was drifting and moving, and he was wired with a hardwired microphone. Instead of having a lavalier cordless microphone, which wasn't invented yet, wise guy. So the boat moved and it was drifting away from the camera. And we had one choice: either rip the microphone off or jump in the water. And he said, son of a, and he jumped, he leaped. I got the soundbite.
Yeah.
He leaped in the water and he cut his foot. He landed on a branch that was under the water.
I remember I took pictures of him in the water, and, you know, I don't know what the statutes of limitations are, but, you know, I'm pretty sure you pushed him.
Note the silence.
Something wasn't going quite right, or the director said something, but that was a fun day. And we went,
Hell's Bay.
I was going to say, it took us.
That's when they named the boat Hell's Bay from that trip.
Yeah. It took us hours and hours to get over there. And that was
watching the camera crew argue over who's going to go over the plug and pay the fare.
Right. Well, that's right. Flamingo had the lift back then, and at least we could go over that way and not have to run around. But
that's how we went.
Yeah, I remember that. That was, and Chittim knew that area pretty well. You know, all of that Hells Bay, Lane Bay, that backwater stuff, and
the whole it worked out really great for the rest of the continuity for the rest of the Snook project, because I was in the Rosenstiel School of Marine Sciences.
Right.
They were tricking the snook to breed 2 and 3 times a year instead of once, by controlling the water temperature and the light sources and stuff. They would trick them into spawning.
But did they?
And then we tag them.
When they did that project and they let those snook go, they got released in Biscayne Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And later on they did redfish the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, we've known each other a long time, and I know years ago when I first met you, you were doing fishing reports on Channel 6 News. You were doing commercials. You had a lot going on that was pretty impressive back in the day.
Well, you know how hard it is to make a living down here. In the Keys, living here. You've been here 40 years that I know of. So you had to be creative or starve to death.
Well, and there was a lot of creative people, but
oh yeah,
you certainly were kind of on the forefront of a lot of things. And, you know, it was interesting back then that you were really marketing fishing in the Keys. Not a lot of people were. They didn't really know.
Glenn Lau was another one. Glenn Lau was a filmmaker and did fishing shows and fishing reports. He and I were pretty much the first guys that were really doing it with any degree of sponsorship and sincerity and marketing prowess and throwing what we could at it.
Well, but when you were doing that on Channel 6 News, was it?
Yeah.
Was that
Channel 6, 10 o'clock news?
Yeah. So it's just interesting. I remember we were trying so hard to get people to come to the Keys and come fishing and, come down here and see what we have. And here we are, 2022, and it's
tell them to get the hell out of here.
It's pretty full around here.
That's putting it lightly. Yeah.
It's been exposed. Progress. You can't stop progress, and things have changed.
So listen, did you know Millard Wells?
Of course,
the famous watercolor artist.
Yeah,
I picked him up one day to go to Rotary Club to go to lunch, and we were pulling out of his driveway. He lived by the where the big
rain barrel.
Yeah, by the rain barrel, and pulled out, and we were waiting for a break in the traffic to make a left-hand turn to go up to Craig's restaurant. He said, "Quick, Sheldon, there's a space to fit one more car. Get your ass moving and make another video."
Oh, he was the greatest. It was interesting talking about Millard Wells. When I started getting into the tournament scene, he was the artist, and that was really the crown jewel to get a Millard Wells original painting as a trophy in some of the tournaments. And I was really fortunate to win some of those over the years and really valued them as to what they were and knowing him. And he was a funny guy. He was master of ceremony in a lot of the tournaments, and he was a pretty funny guy.
Oh, he was a genius in his own way. He was really, really well read. He really understood what comedy was about, and art was a dream for him. He'd walk outside and see something and scribble it on a rock.
Right.
I mean, you'd give him a pencil and a piece of paper at a Rotary Club. They would take his napkins when the lunch was over. "Hey, Millard, can I have that napkin when you're done with it? Would you mind signing it?" And his wife, Jeannie, she would get very irritated with him signing on his name on all kinds of stuff.
Well, that was original artwork.
I said, "Would you make me a flying fish for a license plate?" And Jeannie said, "Get the hell out of here." He doesn't make license plates. Game fish, but not license plates.
Yeah. Well, I guess even back then, the Flying Fisherman, which was part of your brand back then, you started out with the polarized sunglasses. And I'll never forget, it's what we all wore. And, some of the advertising and the marketing you did with them, there weren't a lot of options back then, and they worked, and you really were on not the cutting edge, but you really had a good product. This is, really going back a long ways. And now I can't imagine how many different styles and pairs of glasses you carry. And
I think there's 50, 60 styles, I think.
Yeah.
The boss should be here. She should tell me.
Yeah. So, Pat, we did an interesting project with fishing rods where I helped you design, and also with Juan Gozio from Argentina, a 3-piece spinning rod and a 4-piece fly rod. And the idea was to not create a rod line, but to create 3 spinning rods and 3 fly rods that the average guy that wants to travel could take with him when he goes fishing. And I thought it was a great idea, in that a lot of times if you go fly fishing somewhere, not always can you fly fish because the weather, or it's raining, or who knows what's going on. And if you have your own spinning rod, at least you can go fishing. You can go do something. So the idea with the spinning rods and the fly rods, I really thought it was great, and really enjoyed putting it together, making those samples and doing that project with you. And, it seemed like right from the get-go, everybody seemed to like it. And our guy Juan, he was just such a funny guy,
he's a wonderful partner.
God, just so passionate about all of it, and loves tarpon fishing to this day.
Yeah, he does. He was in Cuba last week.
Yeah, he was a great guy to do it with, and certainly from Argentina with his business, he's got quite the following of rods.
Do you follow his tech?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Nowadays you're networking with a lot of people through social media, so you see what they're doing. And
that's right. He was going to go fishing with you not too long ago.
Yeah, we went last year.
Was it last year, or was it? Yeah, I guess.
Last year he came. It was blowing 40 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And he wondered why there weren't any fish around. And I took him fishing anyway. I said, "You know what, Juan? let's go, because I want to spend some time with you. We're not going to catch anything. And, you can try to cast if you want. He didn't want to use bait. He was fly fishing. But it's probably not going to work out. But let's just go spend some time together on the boat and talk about stuff. And we did. We had a great time. And that's what it's all about. It's those relationships that you build with people. And we had a fun project on top of it.
Well, the rods that we built, Portuguese cork grips. What was the composition of the blanks, Randy?
Well, they were all graphite.
All graphite and SIG guides.
The SIC Fuji guides.
Yeah, Fuji guides.
Yeah.
Just top of line. And what I said to you guys is, I was saying, build the nicest rod you want, but make a case that's really hot.
That's right.
Remember that?
Yep.
You can have all your fancy rods. Give me a case that I can wrap them in and put them in that'll be outstanding and draw attention to them.
Yeah.
And we did. We got a pretty cool case that packs in a suitcase, or legal to carry it on an airplane. And
it's funny because, I'm thinking of a light rod, a medium rod, and a heavy rod. And, is the fly rod going to be a 6 or a 7 or a 10 or a 12? And I kind of get all that stuff figured out. And every time I talk to you, you were trying to figure out a case. And I'm thinking, a case? What? Man, that's the least of the things we need to figure out right now is a case. But it did become one of the most important things when the rod was done.
We sell cases 4-to-1 to rods.
Right.
4-to-1.
We sold one today. And it's just, every time I see the thing, I just laugh to myself, because I remember when you showed it to me the first time, you're standing on top of it and you go, look at this thing. I can stand on top of it and it's not crushing, and it's, it's rigid and it's staying together. And it was a big deal to do that case, and you got it figured out, and you had it made right, and it fits in the overhead. And the beauty of it, and it wasn't by really design, but we figured out later, you could put a dozen fly rods in it.
That's right.
So it becomes like a
tackle box,
like a multi-carrying case of different rods. Because most people that are fly fishing, going somewhere, they have 3 or 4 rods they're going to take with them. And you can pull the foam out of that and put all those rods in one case, and it's just perfect. Brilliant.
Pat Seville did that. He went to Africa, went fishing with him, and he brought 6 rods. 2 of them were ours, and 4 of them were his.
Yeah.
You just put them all in a case and carried them right on the airplane.
Perfect. And the 3-piece rods, because they're 7 feet long, they end up being about the same length as a 4-piece fly rod. So the case was basically the length of a 4-piece fly rod.
We figured that out.
Right. That's why they weren't 7.6. The fly rods, we made them in a 6, an 8, and a 10 for the reason being the 6 could be a trout rod, could be a bass rod, could be a bonefish, redfish rod, which is super popular.
Right.
The 8, a little bit heavier for the snook or the redfish or bonefish. And the 10, guys were using it, catching dolphin, catching tarpon on it. And it was the perfect weights in fly fishing that we touched on, because it's most popular sizes that guys are going to use.
The idea, I think, that we shared together was we had a 6-weight, 8-weight, 10-weight in the fly rods, and a light, medium, and a heavy in the spinning rods. And that covered the gamut. If you want something more, than go charter a boat and go get in the rod selection of his boat. but for your own personal stuff, you need, it's all-purpose tackle. A lightweight, medium, and heavy spinner. I mean, if you need more than a heavy spinner, you need a winch. Then go get a Penn International.
Yeah, but I tell people sometimes when they start talking about spinning rods, for example, honestly, there's only 3 or 4 different models, and some guys will make a big deal out of, you need 15 different models. This one needs to be a little lighter, or a little stiffer, a little lighter tip, a little more this, and you can get as technical as you want on that stuff. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to being pretty simple. A light one, good action, good guides, built well. A medium, the same way. That's all you need.
Well, you have the essentials. You got Portuguese grips. You got the grips, the reel seats, the guides, the blank. We picked all the best stuff for those weight classes.
Exactly.
And it worked out to be exactly what you needed. Nothing more, nothing less.
I remember the Snook project, which was one of our One of our most memorable little TV shows, I guess, for Channel 2 public television.
I was building fillers. The clock would balance 2 minutes short from PBS for having no commercials in the programming. So there was usually a time where a clock would come up and it would roll for 2 minutes with some music, or they would have some kind of a special promotion of some sort. And I come up with a concept, why don't you give them 2-minute short shows? And the Snook Project was one of them.
Right.
And I covered the Rosenstiel School of Marine Sciences, Snook, the hatchery, and everything else in 2 minutes without sounding like a 45 record on 78 speed, like the Chipmunks. So it became a stencils for me to create that concept and work 2, 3, 4, 5-minute shows.
Well, back then, I'm sure doing all that stuff with editing and the amount of time you put in that stuff, there were days and hours to go into a 2-minute show.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. I mean, I put, you get these visions of all these wonderful things that you want to see happen. And then like you and I have talked over the years about you doing shows, and I've said, sure, go ahead and get it now. Hire the crew, hire the cameraman, make sure that the lenses work, make sure you have polarizers, make sure you have a boat, make sure everything is backed up twice, make sure you have a script, make sure you have a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Oh, no, an intro, beginning, middle, and an end.
Right.
Etc. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, things have certainly changed, and you were pretty inspiring back in the day, and you don't realize things at the time. You're going through life, you're doing your business, and you see things, or you're involved with things that gives you ideas, or makes you think about something. And I can remember going to the trade shows and going to ICAST and seeing you guys out there with your booth and all this stuff. And I mean, here you guys were this little operation from Islamorada, Florida, out at one of the biggest trade shows in the country, and everybody knew who you were. Everybody knew Flying Fisherman. You had people lined up in the booth, and it was just impressive to see that, and a good feeling when that, there's hard work and there's networking, and, look what you can do. And I guess still today, you guys still go. I mean, I see you guys at the show. We've done shows together over the years, and I think it's still a great way to go face to face with people, and I hope we don't lose that.
It is, and we are losing it slowly but surely. The crowds are getting a little bit less, and most people are virtual. You can't go virtual marlin fishing. I don't give a damn who you are. You got to get in a boat and go try and get them.
Right.
But it takes a team. Like your son-in-law, you have. He's a digital head. He's going to help you crack the barriers of social media. That's like trying to crack the Miami Herald when I was doing it back in the day.
Right.
We didn't have all of the platforms and things that you have at your disposal nowadays. Well, I guess we do too. But to tell you the truth, without a partnership, without a team, you can't do a damn thing. If it wasn't for Linda, I'd be sitting under a coconut tree playing a drum pad. And the fact of the matter is, you really have to work and work hard at it. Believe in your message, actively find a market, and then actively go after that market. And that's what we've managed to do, especially with Linda. She doesn't bend too easy. So when I have all these wild ideas about stuff, she says, profitability.
Right.
She's a little monster on my shoulder screaming at me, stop thinking about great ideas.
It's interesting that you say that, because there's people that have these, they imagine things, we all have imagination.
Sure.
And it's almost sometimes like a preview of something, and it's in your head. I don't know. Linda doesn't know, but we get these things. I get them. Obviously you get them, and you get so excited about something you want to tell someone.
Can't wait.
And sometimes it's not, they don't see it the same way.
It's bad news, man. Wait until you can show them something rather than tell them something.
They just look at you like you have lost your mind this time.
Exactly.
But it's in your head for a reason. And it's put there for you to bring to fruition and to make it happen. And you've certainly done a lot of that over the years with your brand and your ideas. And I don't think that's gifted to many people, and certainly for people to take advantage of it and actually do it, that's a whole nother aspect of it. But it's it's exciting when you have these ideas and you can bring them to fruition and turn them into something like your sunglasses. I'm sure when you were in a band and you were doing what you were doing back in the day as a rock star, you didn't know you were going to be selling sunglasses.
Oh, Jesus. No, absolutely not.
But you ended up there. You had an idea for something,
Well, that's a story unto itself, how I became the Flying Fisherman and wound up in the sunglasses business. It's maybe another podcast.
Yeah, was that through the band?
Not necessarily, no. But I was a working musician, played the road, played clubs, did recordings, did all kinds of stuff. And I came to the Keys to knock it off and quit in '72, just to say, reach in my back pocket and see if there was anything in there. And I just got one thing led to another, and I wound up met Linda, and we had a great relationship right off the bat. And I wanted to settle down and get a job, so I went to Holiday Isle, and I got a job at Holiday Isle in park marketing and promotions. So I put together a big turn. There was a guy called Big Wilson that came on TV. Back in the day, you remember we could get Channel 6 with a coat hanger down here. Right. But if you wanted to see the ABC or NBC affiliate, you had to have a 60-foot crane to crank your antenna up at 60, right. 70 feet. So I was watching Channel 6 like everybody else around here. That's the only damn entertainment we had. And they had a show called Night Owl Movies, Big Wilson. And I knew him from Cleveland, from when I was a kid playing music in Cleveland. So I had an idea. I said, why don't we do a tournament with Big Wilson? And they had the Flying Fisherman on WCIX TV News giving fishing reports. I said, why don't we do the Flying Fisherman and Big Wilson Fishing Fun Weekend at Holiday Isle? And the powers that be said, good idea. What do you have in mind? I said, I don't know. Let me work on it. Let me hype the media and see what we can do. Well, I called WQAM and told them that WIOD said they can't fish with the dam. And if you want to come down here, I'll give you boats and show you a good time. Then Channel 4 told them Channel 10 said they can't fish with a dam. And before you know it, I had about 5 radio stations and 3 TV stations 2 weeks before the event, talking about the event on South Florida media. Well, needless to say, we had Cabrera trucking for security.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
They wore their baseball team jerseys on the property.
Nice.
And it turned into one thing. And then the Flying Fisherman, the guy that owned the name, was leaving. He was quitting. There was an issue with health issue with his wife and his mother or something. And he asked me, would I be interested in being the face and voice on TV for it, And I said, sure, let me try it out. And I tried it out. And they liked it. And they gave me the position, and the rest is history.
So, you had that vision. You had an idea that you could put something together with the network of people you knew, and It
proves you never know what's going to happen, man. You never know who you're talking to. You never know what's out there. You just got to really be careful, or thoughtful is a better word than careful, I think.
That's certainly pretty cool. I guess nowadays there's not much music. Do you play it all a little bit, or?
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm involved with Rhombus Records. It's a jazz label out of Hollister, California, Irvine rather, and Dan Carlin is a friend of mine. We met here in Isla Mirada. He's a smooth jazz player, and very good, very, very, very good. I stake my 30 years as a musician on this guy.
Wow,
he's the real deal for what he's doing. And he asked me to help him in producing his latest record album, which is Funky Pink Shoes. All you people out there in podcast land, Funky Pink Shoes by Dan Carlin and Friends. Go look it up and check it out. I think you'll enjoy it.
Wow, interesting name.
On the flip side, he's in town right now. He's staying in Fiesta with his big RV, and
oh, no kidding.
And he's going to play at the Green Turtle the 30th of April from 6 till 9. One performance, and he's got he's bringing a friend of his from New Jersey in just to play with him. And he's keyboard player, vocalist, and extraordinaire. And he has tracks, so it's going to be a good 3-hour music jam at the Green Turtle. By the way, you've done an unbelievably beautiful job with your shop here, your store.
Well, I appreciate it.
It is really cool. So you got to make an appointment to see the beautiful rods and stuff. So you better come here with a pocket full of money, or don't bother him.
Well, you got to have some place to hang your hat, right?
Yes. Mine's at home.
Yeah. So the Flying Fisherman now, the brand, the sunglass line and clothes, and you guys still have a pretty big catalog of everything. And I talked to Bobby not long ago, and you've got new designs and new things coming in your world. You're keeping it going. You're staying with the times.
Well, you are too. You know, like in the world of sporting goods and fashion and clothing and news, the first thing out of a customer's mouth is, "What do you got new?"
Right.
What do you got new? Yeah, I bought that last year. What do you got new now? What do you get? What do you have? And if you don't make a presentation, you don't get the sale. You don't get the customer.
Yeah.
So we have a theory. Linda's working on a brand new catalog now for iCast. Every 2 years, a new catalog, and in between then, new product. And we build the release of a product around the iCast show in July.
Right.
Yeah, July.
That's like we were saying earlier, you know, that show in particular being a gathering place for everyone. And, you know, so many things are getting taken away in life, you know, about face-to-face contact with people and actually.
You mean COVID?
I don't know if it's COVID. I think the world has changed a lot because of whatever that is. And it's a shame because, you know, you now are kind of behind the scenes of talking to people and doing things, you know, remotely. And I still think there's a lot to be said to have face-to-face with people, and especially your relationships in business and, you know, people you work with. I want to really see if you're smiling when you tell me that my rods are really nice, or you're just, you know, making something up to pacify me.
I got you.
And you can't do any of that, you know, over the phone, but certainly face-to-face, you know, you can tell right off the bat if somebody likes your product.
For the most part, you really can. You know, and giving your product away is probably one of the best things you can do to promote yourself if you have that much faith in your product.
You've told me that, and so far we haven't caught up to it. We've given a lot of stuff away.
You know, Linda hit me in the back of the head for all the times I said, "Oh, I'll give him a pair of glasses." I'll give him. But at the end of the day, you know, we're stepping into Bosch and Lomville and Oakleyville and all these heavy hitters, and it's me, Linda, and Bobby, and Michelle and our staff. But we're in the heart of sport fishing. There's no nonsense down here when it comes to seeing what's in the water and what have you.
Very true. And
we that's our moniker, that we're from the Florida Keys. On every hang tag, on every nose tag, on every ad invoice, we spell out Florida, Islamorada, Florida Keys. We don't go FL.
Right.
And I think that's been, in its own way, a silent commitment of we're serious about what we're doing.
Right. Well, I remember a few years back doing a commercial with you with the legendary basketball coach
Bobby Knight.
And what an interesting day going back in Florida Bay and fly fishing for redfish and talking to him. He was an interesting guy.
I'll bet you like that.
I did. We had a great time. And the fact that he loves your product is just a huge compliment.
Do you know he drove from Tampa, Florida with his wife, Karen, to come to Chica Lodge to see me and have the fishing. Not limoed, not fly, drove from Tampa all the way down to Islamorada to help me with this TV commercial for some product that you know about, Passport rods.
Yeah. No, that to this day, the Passport rods that I have in the store, that's my entry-level fly rods. We do very well with them. That was a great project. And to have him on the boat using one and have him talking about them, it was an awesome day to be a part of it.
Yeah, you can see that at flyingfisherman.com. You go to rods, click on rods in the upper right.
The video's there.
Yeah, the video's there. Yeah. The commercial and some extra footage of you and him fishing and having a ball.
It was really a pleasure to have you talk and share some stories and be a part of this. And you meant a lot to me along my journey along the way, and I'm not done yet. And I just wanted to let you know that.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. We have history, and this brings it to life a little bit more.
It really does. We still got a little bit left.
I wish you the best luck, and I think you're going to do it. You're always a little step ahead of everybody else, Randy. Don't let that bother you.
No, it doesn't. I scratch my head a little bit, but you know what? You just grind it out.
They would pick on me that way all the time, every day anyway. So you get to the point where you really don't give a damn, and you just got to keep on moving. As long as you see your dream working for you, it doesn't have to work for everybody else.
That's right. It's your imagination, your dream. your goals.
Keep on dreaming, boy.
Well, Pat, I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.